The landscape of America has changed dramatically since the founding of this country, but never as much as it has in these 16 years of the 21st century. We see a transformation in the way we communicate, new social movements and liberalism, demographic shift, climate change, a recession. All in all, a tumultuous 16 years.
The 21st century has brought a revolution in communication. Our lives have become ever more interconnected. Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, Instagram, and more lets us share events in our lives for large audiences instantly. Celebrity culture has exploded with the ability of their followers to peer into their lives as their influence has spread from endorsing products to endorsing political leaders. Celebrities have also endorsed a culture of sexualization of women, beginning with Britney Spears in the early 2000s and Kim Kardashian today.
We have fought for change in these areas, and in others too. Social movements for racial equality, women's rights, LGBTQ+ rights, minimum wage, poverty, and marijuana have all made great strides to changing the world, whether it be for better or for worse. We made a great change with the legalization of gay marriage. However, controversy still exists in discrimination, particularly with the transgender laws in North Carolina. One protest group fought against police brutality and moved the whole nation with the hashtag Black Lives Matter. They protested the systemic injustice faced by Black Americans from some of the police force. Notable cases include the death of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Mississippi, and it was there that people gathered for the riots and their rights.
Accompanying our social movements comes liberalism, a new wave of politics. With this wave, we elected our first Black president, Barack Obama. He has reformed healthcare, repealed the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, and ended war in Iraq, even if his Veterans' Choice program has failed miserably. And as Obama once said regarding the next president of the United States, we have no idea who she will be. The government has also faced a new problem in terrorism. They must deal with the balance of maintaining national security while facing immigration. The pressure began on September 11, 2001, when 2 planes crashed into the Twin Towers and 1 plane crashed into the Pentagon. This helped pass the Patriot Act, which changed the balance between privacy and national security, a balance still in contention today, with the recent Apple phone hacking case for the San Bernardino shootings.
The people of America themselves are transforming into a more multicultural population. Immigration is today's biggest source of population growth, and with that comes conflict. Nativist sentiment rejects the minority population that will one day overtake the white race as the majority. Additionally, many of these immigrants are illegal, which brings to debate the issue of amnesty for these people. The Syrian refugee crisis once again tests American immigration policy when debates erupt over taking in Syrian refugees.
Of course, not everything about the rising population is beneficial. With the increasing population comes an even greater need for manufacturing, and this increase facilitates the increase of factories and other places that pollute our environment. Thus, our century is a victim to climate change. There are many voices speaking up for climate change, like Al Gore and other activists, as our nation attempts to futilely salvage the dying Earth. However, in spite of the abundant scientific evidence indicating the existence of climate change, some still deny it, as seen in the documentary Climate Hoax. These people deny the extreme fluctuations in the Earth's temperature and the melting of the polar ice caps that lead to the tragic death of so many majestic polar bears and a great host of other problems.
With a new century, we see a new economy. The world is more interconnected than ever before, in a process we call globalization. We use the cheap labor of less developed countries to produce goods for our more developed country because we enjoy higher incomes than other places in the world. While on average we may be enjoying a higher standard of living, the income gap between the rich and the poor is growing ever wider as the erosion of the middle class progresses. In comparison to other countries around the world, the US has an income gap comparable to that of less developed countries. However, our biggest challenge was in 2008 when the real estate bubble burst and we were sent into a recession.
This real estate bubble was very complex and convoluted, so we shall only bother you with a short summary, because someone didn't think it was wise to bore our watchers with something as dull as the technical aspects of economics. It is in fact not dull, since there are so many exciting movies about it. I recommend that you watch The Big Short and Margin Call. Please keep in mind that while both movies are about the recession and economics, The Big Short is far more educational and funny. Seriously, it's hilarious. So back to the real estate bubble. This bubble was created with CDOs, or collateralized debt obligation. These CDOs used to be composed of AAA rated mortgages, so very good mortgages. However, in the 2000s, people started pairing worse and worse mortgages with them to raise the overall value. It was the idea that there was more profit for less risk, and who doesn't want that? However, as time passed, the CDOs started to be composed of more and more bad mortgages and had a higher risk of failing, but were still ranked as AAA, so the market was still successful. Now, these CDOs were bad enough, but there were also synthetic CDOs. Synthetic CDOs are basically bets made on whether insurances were going to fail, and then bets made on those bets. And this exacerbated the problem.
And thus our economy went kablam. After that, as our economy failed, banks that were too big to fail began to collapse. Too Big to Fail is also a movie, but not very exciting, so not recommended. When the banks began to fail, the governments tried to reduce the damage by bailing out banks and injecting stimulus packages into the economy. They also enacted various laws to regulate banks more, so that if banks ever fell in the future, hopefully it would be more controlled.
Change is inevitable, and the 21st century is an era of great change. From the way things are going now, change will be on the horizon for another 84 years.